All right, guys. Video number 3, training number 3. You got the list of what we're going to talk about today. First off, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And my goal for you guys and gals is that 2019, hopefully that with what we're being able to help you with Ranking Factory and the GMB Factory and all the other stuff that we spend and break our backs to create for you, our goal is that it's going to be a great value to you this year to make this a breakout year for you. And we know and we're seeing the combination of the GMB posts. And one of the things that we started today is a test that we're going to be monitoring. But we're noticing that the post URLs individually can be boosted. And by utilizing the authority checker, in the authority checker room, we were having a conversation about, does it matter to post links to your posts? And one of the people in the room, has shown and proven that they've been getting their posts domain and PA authority boosted by utilizing a number of different techniques. So, Heinrich, we started one today from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So we set up a post. What's it, a 0 and a 1, or a 1 and a 0, or something like that?
The PA was 1 and the domain authority was 0 for the Google My Business website. And that's the one that we want to see how fast we can pump that up. And at the same time, we know that normally a post on the GMB would have a domain authority of 91, and I think it's around 40 or 41 for the pages authority.
Right. So the assumption was that just because it was a post and it was on a Google property, i.e., the GMB, that it had automatic domain and page authority, right?
Yeah.
That was the assumption. And quite frankly, for me, I didn't think anything different. I assumed the same thing, but, that was something that we found out today that is important for everybody here to understand, that what we're doing with the posts, and we're reposting and we're building links to those now posts, maybe putting those posts in an IFTTT, that does have some effect, significant effect, as we have seen. So we're gonna test that. Some of you guys can test it yourself and give us feedback, in terms of what you see. But we're able to really check that really quickly with the authority checker, and it was pretty awesome. So with that being said, Don, thank you for the New Year wishes. Steve McCormick, who is always watching these on replays, is happy to be with us today. So is everybody able to hear me okay? Yes. Okay.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we see your screen.
Okay.
The first question on the box: has the damn scheduler been resolved? I added explanation for you, Sue. How's that? So the answer is, Chris is working on making it so that we don't have these issues. Remember, this is still a beta version, as we told everybody. So as we work through these issues, we appreciate your feedback and patience and letting us know what is having an issue so that he can fix it and eventually resolve the issue totally. Part of it is he's got to figure out how it can work on all kinds of different environments, all kinds of different windows, all kinds of VPSs, all kinds of machines. And, so that's what he's working on directly. But we thank you for that. And, everybody understand it's beta. That's what we told you. That's why we got a great price, and we're working through it, and it will be fixed. So carry on, my friend.
Thank you. So when you're reporting these bugs, could you please state which version of the software you're using, either a pro or an agency, and the number of the version that you're using, and also states what kind of operating system that you're using, because there's been several issues on Windows 7, others on 8, and others on 10. So it's important for Chris to know whether you're running on a VPS server, which is a different software, which is server software, so we can try to detect the problems quite fast so we can solve the problems. If we don't know that, then it's a little bit more difficult for Chris to find the nail in the haystack, right? A needle in the haystack. So please do that, and then maybe a little bit more than, well, it doesn't post, or I have the computer running. Give us as much facts as possible, because that makes it much easier for us to solve the problem. I hope you can all agree with that. And by saying that, let's go into today's program, where I will show you how to create a schema and insert that into an iframe. And when we insert it into the iframe, we will post that into a blog account, and we can, when we're posting, try to check in the Google Validator to see whether Google reads the damn stuff or not. And then I will use the iframe tool, and I will be iframing a sheet, which I also will put into the blogger. And we might have time maybe to go into how to put iframes or use the ranking factory to create a cloud stack and use the iframes to put in there, because in the RFR we don't have the iframe generator, so we can just use the two in combination.
Hey Henrik, one of the things that we assume, me especially, is that everybody that we deal with knows exactly what an iframe is and how it's best used. Can you kind of go over what exactly is an iframe?
An iframe is an HTML tag which enable you to take another source, another URL, and put into a frame which will be rendered in the browser. So we could take, for instance, one of your cloud stacks URL, put that into an iframe, and put that into, for instance, one of your G sites, or into your money site, or you can place it wherever you have the possibility of having a browser rendering the code. So you could say that's a hole or a tunnel to another URL somewhere on the web.
Okay,
Does that make sense for everybody?
Yes.
It's like a window where you can look through to another site, but you have it just in front of you.
And so Richard is asking, so Google is now reading through or into iframes? Absolutely.
Yeah. They read whenever the Google bot comes to a page, it will read the whole code. It will look at the links, and when it finds an iframe, it will go to that particularly page and look whatever is there. If there's more iframes on that one, it will go deeper into the thing. And I think most of you have been on Marcus' webinar, where he spoke about iframes and looping the iframes. So if you have your G site, which has an iframe that go to your cloud stack, then it will read that, let's say, stack, and which, if you're on that stack, has iframes again, it will go to that source and read that. So I think also he showed how you could make a loop. So whenever you take that far out page and stack that again into itself or into a G site, you will actually create an endless loop where Google bot will go round and round and round and round. And I think he said that he had managed to get the bots operating on a page for 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was over 6 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. before it was finished. So generally, an iframe is a tool that helps you to incorporate other websites into your website. Some sites do not allow to iframe the content. So you can risk that you are trying to put an URL into an iframe and it won't render, or it looks like it's just a blank one. That's because they have what you call an iframe blocker at the other end, which doesn't allow you to import the thing into an iframe.
So I think the very simplistic bottom line answer, Richard, Karen, and others, is that when you take and put an iframe in your website, okay, when Google crawls your website, it also crawls your iframe. So the information that's in your iframe is getting crawled by Google as well. So it gives us vast opportunities to get lots and lots and lots of data viewed by Google that's relevant to that website. So it actually helps in boosting, the property that you're trying to boost because of all these other, iframes, and where the iframe is going is linking to something else, and another iframe within an iframe within an iframe, helps to give you that boost in authority. That's the basic, simple reason that we do it. And along the way, every other property that you have within those iframes is getting hit too. So it's a multi-fingered facet. So it's an awesome tool. Thanks, Henrik. Appreciate it.
Okay, so let's go into the Schema Generator. As you recall, that the Schema Generator has the ability, either you can actually put in information in the boxes, or we will be reading the information from the location, which is up here. In this case, it's Oceans Lending. So if I click here and add that to the schema, it will fill out most of the fields in the boxes here. So I just have to do something here just for a second to move this over here. Okay, so as you can see, you have here it says a local business type, more specific type. So in this instance, the local business type here, I can go down and drill it down to, where do I have the financial service, which you can categorize a mortgage company. And then you can go over here and take a more specific one and call it bank or credit union. Or you could just have left it as a local business, that's okay. Then another thing you must put in is a URL to an image which represents the company. So in this instance, it has taken one from our GMB. So I'll click on that, but you can put in any URL, but you have to put in a full URL to that. And then
you can also take one from your Google Drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you have the URL, you can stuff it in there.
Okay, great.
Okay. We have inserted the Oceans Lending address, and you can see here I have the what we call the UTM code as well in there. I have a telephone number which it has taken, the address, the city, the state. We have to select the county, not country, sorry. If I can do that. Maybe if I just run USA, United. We'll take that, yeah. And then I'll have to drill down to the state, which seems to be grayed out for some odd reasons. But normally you will have to fill in the state, and in this case, Florida. It has taken the latitude and the longitude for me. It has taken the opening hours, or put them into the boxes itself, and then we have the one up here, price range, where you normally should give a price range for your product because it's a local business, but I'll just put in $2 signs, and that will do for this one. Then we come down to the social and other links box, where you can go in and take all your social profiles and put those into the box down here. So I'll just copy a few out. Just a second. Grab those. If my computer would allow me to do that. So I'll take a bunch of them here, put it in there, and you can see immediately it will, in the code window over here, fill those Web 2.0 properties into the same as. So as many as you have, you stuff them in here. So I'll go down here again, give it a little bit more. I also have Facebook and the blog on YouTube, so we'll take that as well. And stuff those into it here. If you have a resource page, you can put that into this URL here, the ad ID. We'll come into that in a later training, but we'll keep it for now. So now I have all the schema over here, and then I can select all here, copy that, and I'll click on the validates. So we'll now open a new tab or browser window, and you can see, sorry in Danish, but embed code, that's the one on the right I'm choosing, and then I'm embedding the code, and I'm running the test now. And it came up and told me that I have an error. Seems to be some code error here. We have see, I'm missing a comma here. Gonna run it again. Okay, yeah. So there's a little bug. We have to report to Chris that he is missing a comma in the code. But here you can see there's no warnings whatsoever in the schema. So what I actually should do is to go back and change the code. It was up here, it was missing a comma in the code. So the schema is ready. So what can I use it for? Schema you will normally put into your money site, and the general practice is that if you have more than one location, you will start with putting in an organization schema into the website on a global basis, and on your location basis, you will take a schema like we have generated here for each location that you have in the website. So if you have 3 locations on the same page, you will be putting in 3 schemas, 1 for each individual business or GMB business. But I will recommend you that if you have more than 2, then split it up so you have a specific location page for each, where you will of course embed your Google Maps, your My Maps, have a schema inserted into and optimize it as much as possible for each individual location page. So question, is everybody aware of where to put in the schema in your in your website?
No.
Okay. Just to check, I'll open a site.
Someone says footer, someone says header, someone says no, 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 no. So make us straight.
Just a tick.
Thanks, guys.
I'm just trying to find a page where I can show you where you can put it in.
So everybody's just like, okay, so here we got our schema code. What do we do with it, right?
So the schema in itself, you will normally place in the header tag. So I'll put it in here. So if I paste it in, you can see the schema will go into this section here. This is on this specific page. And if you have more than one, you will just go a little bit down and then you'll paste it in again. And then you will have two schemas inserted into this particular contact us page where we might have the Google Maps or My Maps embedded on. If it's on a global scale, you, depending on your template, then you will go into the section where you have the global one, which normally will be in a global setting like this one here, where I can go into the header here. Sorry, should have gone down here. Additional HTML and HTML here. And you can see I already have some code in here. So that's where you will place it on your website. For us, we will have to use this code here in connection with an iframe, which we want to put into a blogger post. So what I can do, I can just create a post. So I'll go into the poster. I'll take, yeah, I can take this one. I'll paste in the post. I might add a bottom. I might do several things to it, but I will click on this blogger after post. I will add a photo as well. Just take one here. And now I have most of the information. But what I want to show you is that I want to embed the Google My Maps into the blogger post. So I'll go over here, I'll generate the embed code. sometimes you have to be a little bit patient because the software will create the API, and it depends on the response time for the API to come back to the software. So I'll copy this to the clipboard now. And I'll go back. And I believe this is ready. Of course, I will optimize my image, and I'll go to Post Now. And you can see it has opened the tab with the blogger up here. So when it has created the post, which will take a little while, then we go to the blogger tab. Okay, it has already generated the blogger post. I'll have to cut off a little bit of these, so I'll do that, so I don't get too many tags into the blogger post. So now I need to find a spot where I want my map to be embedded. Up there you can see there's a little code icon saying Edit HTML, and that's the one I want to use. So I go in here. Unfortunately, it doesn't place the cursor where I placed it here, but I want it just below the renovation loans, so I can put it in here. So I'll just paste the code that I had. So you can see here, this is the iframe that I pasted in. And just before the closing, which is this tag here, it's a little bit difficult, but just between the closing tag and the closing of the actual iframe, I will place the schema which I generated over here. So I'll go back here, which I can't at the moment, so I'll update this one. Go to back. I'll select the schema. I'll copy that. I'll go back to my blogger. I will open the code generator again, and I'll find the spot down here again where I want to insert the schema right there. So I'll paste that in. What happened there? Okay, sorry, it did paste it in, yes. So you can see the schema is coming here, and the closing of the iframe is down here. I can then update my little and it has now inserted the Google Maps. I need to make a page break here so I can actually get it organized a little bit better, but you get the idea. It's just tidying it up afterwards. So choose a blogger name here, if I have one here. That's the blogger. And if you, for some reason, would like to work a little bit more on this one, you can save it up here and come back and choose the load and load that particular blog post up again. So what we have achieved here is that we have inserted, embedded with an iframe, Google My Maps. And if you want more into the blogger post, we can try to see whether we can do that. So I will find something else which I can put into it. I have a document because there's official new lending limits, and that's was what I indicated up here in the titles. I want to actually embed an official PDF file. So I'll go up to my toolbox again. I'll take the iframe tool, give it a name, called it FSA. Let's call it market news. Whenever I can, I'll try to name it with some keywords in terms of what the Googlebot will be reading. So I'll stuff that in there. I have the URL here, and I can create the iframe, which is over here. And I can take a preview of it. So I'll just for checking it, I'll go over here to preview. And hopefully it will load the document. It's a big one, so it may take some time. But while it's loading, we can go back. I didn't put the source in here for some odd reasons. That's why. So you can see over here, this should be actually this string. So if I just go and paste it in here, it will work. But actually it should have generated a code with this URL being put in over here. So now I'll try to preview it again and see if that's better. What's happening here?
Gary said it's doing the same thing to him.
Okay. Okay, I'll skip the preview then, because apparently something is happening here. I'll just select all the code which is here, copy that, and go back to my blogger. And I will insert that into the text. Again, I'll take the code, HTML code, go down, maybe at the bottom, related information. And I'll put in page line break and put it in there. I'll update this one. And when I'm posting this one, it should be posting the iframe. So let's create the post and see what comes out at the other end. Just double check the code, make sure that it has maintained the iframe there. It has, so it's good. So I'll create the post. It has finished uploading it, so we should get the here in just a second.
Excuse me, guys. So while you're waiting to do all that, everything that you just did here, there are places in which if you didn't have the GMB poster for the utility and the convenience, all of this stuff you can do, you can figure out how to do by hand elsewhere, right?
Yeah. It just takes time.
It just takes time to be a pain in the butt. So by bringing all of these into this module, I mean, a lot of people just get afraid of iframes because they don't know what they are. This makes it pretty simple because it's right here and you can do it and you just hit create, and as Henrik just shared with everybody. So how many of you listening right now have been using the iframe tool? Give me a 1 if you have and 2 if you have not. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Wow. Holy crap. We're about 90% of people here have never used this yet.
Oh dear, oh dear, dear. How many of you have been on Marcus' webinars where he spoke about iframes?
Majority.
Majority? So you're just sitting watching the good value information that he puts into your heads and do nothing. Come on, guys. You definitely need to go out using it.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to ask the question, because it's important, and maybe let me ask you this question a different way, and this is kind of important for me. Okay, have we given you guys too many great, awesome, wonderful, unbelievable ways to build your business in one box? Have we given you too much? You know, should we break this down into smaller little pieces and just sell them one at a time? Or is what we built, and I'm being serious, I'm doing this for a reason, you know? So the question is, have we given you too much, or is it just takes you a little bit of time to learn it? Because I don't see any value in producing something that doesn't help you, or giving you, you know, an arrow to go shoot a deer, but you don't have a bow. You understand what I'm trying to say? This is so freaking powerful. And every single one of these modules is powerful. But yeah, I get a sense that just from the answers here, most of you aren't using this. But if you've been in the internet marketing business, you've heard about schema, how important it is, right? And I know it takes time to learn, Carolyn. I appreciate that. And that's why I'm asking the question. You know, is all of this worth learning, or is it, you know, just too much, I guess is my question. Everybody just says, no, it's just got to learn it, you know, worth learning. Yeah, okay, cool. Because I actually am worried. I really am worried. You know, we're looking at RFR, and the people that are in RFR, you know, very few people use everything in the RFR, and that's fine, because, you know, if you find something that works, that's comfortable. But when you're talking about GMB, or you're talking about the modules that we put together for you, it is extremely important to kind of figure out how to use each one of them, because it will give you so much more power than the next guy that, you know, they're going to be so far behind you, they're not even going to be able to smell the back of your side. It's just going to be fresh air. They're so far behind, right? So, all right, let's leave what Keith says. One of my client blogger sites, everybody's hang on real quick. Okay, one of my client blogger sites is not being picked up by the GMB factory. Haven't taken time to figure it out. Other client has only one blogger set up, but all have been doing, let's see, but all I have been doing is scheduling posts. So Keith, not sure why your blogger's not being picked up, but it's something we can take a look at. But you of all people, with as awesome as you are, you're using about 10% of the value of what we have here, and you're probably getting great results. But can you see how much more ratings and quicker you could get there if you use some of these other features? I'm glad you're using what you're using, don't get me wrong, and I appreciate it. But schema is really, 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 really important when it comes to local businesses. So we'll try to look into the blogger issue for you. Just hook up with us in the GMB room, and we'll figure that out for you. But yeah, I've got schema in all my important properties, just not via GMB Mega. So Don, here's a question. Looking at the way that we set this up, and you're not using this piece of it, but you're doing it a different way. It's kind of a shoot myself in the foot, environment here. But can you see how much easier it might be to do it this way, with all the various aspects of how you could bring other pieces into this, all within the same platform? I think that this is easier to do that with. So, can you put schema into a G site? Ha-ha. Henrik?
If you can put schema into a G site, yes and no. You cannot do it directly, but if you buy a domain from Google, a custom domain, then you will be given access to the DNS for it, and there you can use the Google Tag Manager to actually tag in schema or script into the site.
Can you let me answer this a different way? Can you put an iframe in G sites?
Nope.
Sure you can. Sure you can. If you could put an iframe in a G site.
In a G site, sorry, you were talking about my business site. Yep, a G site. Yep.
So you can put an iframe in a G site, right?
Yep.
So can't you put the schema code into an iframe that's going into the G site?
What you can do, you can create an Amazon static site page. Take that page, put in your schema into that, iframe that into your G site, and then you will have a G site with schema in it. I think actually Bob Reel from Semantic Master showed that in a webinar, didn't he? How to put schema into it. Yeah.
Terry, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can drop an iframe into a G site or a HTML page, your blogger, any of those places, and you can have your schema contained in that iframe.
So in other words, there's no direct way, Ray, of putting it directly into a G site, but there's a number of back doors to get it done. You can't put it directly into the GMB, which is what I'm sorry, Henrik, I wasn't clear, but there is a way of getting it into a G site via what Henrik and Terry was just saying, through other means. Does that make sense, Ray? Sneaky.
But the money site, if you're talking about business, their money page, landing page, whatever they've got, should have schema in that page.
Always. Yep. So, very good. Thank you. Great question, Ray, by the way. Which brings me to another question that I don't want everybody to answer, but how many of you are actually using the power of G sites? Nobody needs to answer that. But that's in Ranking Factory, not in here, but still. So you can build your own G sites. You don't need Ranking Factory to build a Google site. But Google Sites, the new Google Sites, are a very good medium for you to utilize all of these processes with as well, right? Keith says, yeah, he does G sites all the time. So
in the G site, you can embed just about every module of RFR in there. You can embed your calendar, your photos, your presentations, your HTML pages. I mean, you can load it up with all sorts of stuff.
And a lot of that, as we've seen, is taught through the semantic mastery courses, and they teach you how to do that. We have the process in which that's done to make it a lot easier. But that's a good source of information as well if you wanted to know how to build them yourself without being a member of Ranking Factory, because not everybody in here is a member of Ranking Factory. So that's a good source as well. Rusty says he's been using G sites for a long time. Paul, he uses them a little bit. Keith uses them all the time. So, that's just another great Google property to be able to take all the stuff that we're sharing with you here and use embeds in different ways and shapes and forms to get, way better information about your desired outcome than your competitor. And I think, we'll all agree that if you're doing more than everybody else, you're going to rank above them, as long as you're doing it correctly and not trying to, cheat Google. Do you agree with that, Terry?
Yep. Mo better, mo better, mo better.
Mo better, mo better, mo better.
If you take a look here, I have a G site up, and if I want to embed an iframe in it, you can see actually I have here map. I have a YouTube video. I have something from Instagram. I have put something in from wherever. I have two mind maps into it. So if I want to embed, for instance, a sheet in here, I will take this embed code, go down here and place it down here. Sorry. I'll put in the URL that I want. And I will simply just click insert. And it will take a little while. And maybe you recognize what this is.
Sheets.
Yeah.
So you can do the same thing, everybody, with your websites. With the embed code, it is just data, relevant data. Google can read it. Is that relevant data relevant to your site? If it's relevant to your site, what's Google going to do? They're supposed to give you better love. The more relevancy you have, relevant content that you have, the more relevant images that you have, the more relative anchor text that you have, that's when you're going to supposedly get more love. And that's why we build all this stuff here for you. And I'm going to read something from Carolyn. This training is very helpful. Small digestible bits. The only thing that is too much is there's too much going on between Skype, Facebook Messenger, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. And Carolyn, you are 100% right. It's kind of hard for us to, with so much data, it's hard for us to condense it. But I will tell you, and I will promise you that there is something that I'm working on that hopefully will at least solve a portion of this problem very shortly. So thank you very much for telling us that we've got good data, we got good info, we just give you too much of it. So appreciate it, Carolyn. You're awesome.
So what I did here was actually just using the embed element up here, which will just need a URL, and I framed in the sheet. But if you look at this is the new G site, not the old classic G site. You can have YouTube. You can go down here and have a calendar. You can have maps, docs, slides, sheets, forms, and charts. And if you start thinking of what you can do with links in your different type of properties in terms of sheets, forms, docs, maps, whatever you can think of, you can embed it into a G site. And the more use it gets, the better it will be. And then you go and hit your RFR campaign either on the site or on the individual documents that you have done. You take your cloud stack, point that to the G site as well, and then you'll shortly start seeing the G site start ranking if you do that.
You can embed your business site from your GMB or your money page, or both.
Your post from your GMB as well, you can embed. So then I think there's endless possibilities.
Along that line, here's a question. Should we insert schema into Google Map iframe section, or is it not needed?
You can. That was what I did before.
Right. Okay. So
But if,
I don't think it's, I think it's, the question is, it's not needed. It is needed. And, you know, Henrik showed you how to do that earlier.
whenever you can give the Google bot some information about your money site or your property that you are trying to rank, give it to them. And if Schema is the tool to do it, then do it. We have just built in the local business schema into the GMB because the GMB is supposed to be a local business, so that makes sense. But we could have chosen to build an organization. We could build in schema for video, schema for images, schemas for articles, schema for everything. If you go to schema.org, you will be overwhelmed by the amount that you can actually mark up in terms of telling the bots what your website is about or what's on your website. And that's the key issue.
Okay.
So anybody afraid of Schema now, or should we do a special one later on Schema?
Need some answers. What, you know, are you okay with it? Makes sense?
Whatever it is you're doing now, keep doing it and just add that one more layer of throwing some schema into it, and that'll make a big difference in what you're doing.
Yeah.
It'll make a huge difference. I mean, that's why, has any of you guys ever heard of Project Supremacy? Okay, you know what their claim to claim is? They do a lot of great stuff, but their claim to claim for me specifically is schema and how to do it. You know, what's the best way to do it? It's all very, very centric around schema code.
If you saw the WordPress theme that I was putting schema into before, that's actually a template from Jeffrey Smith, who is a wizard on page SEO, and he has built up something called SEO design frameworks, and that template is focusing solely on schema, so you can mark up nearly everything within those posts or pages that you are trying to create. So it's worthwhile looking at.
Yep, Anthony says we need more PDFs. We need more step-by-step videos on this stuff. Well, I think what we're showing you here, Anthony, this is a step-by-step, and this is a video. So all you really need to do is come back and relook at this and follow the steps and the patterns? Are you saying that, some people are different type of learners, that we need to create a written PDF and a transcript of this for you? Is that what it is that you're looking for? Because I'm not sure that's going to happen. But if it is, and enough people want it, we can do it. Just takes time. I'm just kind of going through some of the other questions. Okay, the software training like this is very helpful, Carolyn. Small digestible bits. Thank you very much. That's why we'll spend as much time. I'll spend 3 hours here. Keep asking questions. We'll keep going over it. This is not a sales webinar. This is a training webinar. So you just keep asking questions, and we're going to keep answering them. Will there be some information how to? Oh, this is kind of an interesting question from Bern. Will there be some information how to pimp up? I like the word pimp up the GME business site. So I guess the question is, can we do a training on how to pimp up a GMB site, website, business site?
I think Terry have already done a few videos on how to use RFR to really juice up a GMB. And
well, remember, not everybody in here is in RFR, so that doesn't help everybody.
Okay, sorry.
Right? So can we love Terry, but can we take time to show everybody within here how to pimp up a GMB business site?
At some point, not today.
No, not today.
That would take a while to go over it.
But yes, we can have another training just on this site.
Pimp the pimp.
No?
No, I've looked.
Okay, hang on a minute, guys. I'll be back in a minute. Go.
So just to talk a little bit about the G site again. If you have the RFR model, or if you do it manually, you could take a G site and mirror your money site as a G site, because you can get away with much more on the G side than you can on your money side. And as you can see, we have stuffed in here a lot of iframes. We could stuff in even more. So generally speaking, you should take advantage of using the G sites, and those of you who are in the RFI, you know that you could use the G site as a buffer document. So if you are the type that want to maybe prove to a potential client that you can do something, then you can actually build up a G site mirroring his own site and do RFR campaigns towards that one, and by that actually pumping on his own money site website, or you could actually do the same towards his GMB. But as Terry said, that's a longer training, so we'll go into that later on. So maybe, Terry, we should discuss a little session on that.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
How do you market these websites that has the iframes? You're talking about the Google sites, Scott, I guess? Well, just look there. If you build a Google site and it has the iframes, you market it the same as you would any other one. That's the address that you build all of your links to, right? No, we're not going to do a semantic mastery checklist. That's their business, not ours. Does the schema go in? No, we are in the GMB post. Can you put the schema code into a post? I don't think you can, but I don't know.
No, Google strip it out.
I think they would.
You get a big red mark saying rejected.
You can put schema. You could look. I think that the simple answer to all of this, okay, is that wherever and both of you guys kind of chime in on this, but here's how I would think of it. Wherever I can put an embed code, I can put schema, because I can embed the schema in the embed code. So if you think of it that way, it kind of solves the puzzle a little bit. Can you put schema into a G site? No. Yes, because you could put the schema into the embed and the embed into the site. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that kind of simplify where you can do this? Can you put schema into a website? Yes, because it allows you to do that either in the header tag or on any page. Some themes allow you to put it on every page, okay? Especially if you have like a plumber and you have a regular page that allows you to put schema on each page. Every page for each city could have its own schema on that page. And there are themes that will do that for you, okay? I don't actually know, other than one, which one will, but they are there. So, once again, that is a very important question to ask. Where can you put your schema, okay? Taking sites out of the index with their broken-ass plugin, whatever. Clint, I don't know what that means. Taking sites out of the index with their, okay. You have to clarify that for me. Let's see, Scott, I suggest making your own checklist to listen to each Webby. I'm working on this whole thing, guys. Somebody's on the webinar today that is taking a lot of this information, chronicalizing it, and we are working on it because we do also agree that it's a lot of data, and you guys have a lot of things that you need to do to make money, not always sit and listen to us talk. Okay, here's a good point from Jim. Most people think that schema is only to add in the header of a site, okay? But like he says, iframes and other pages is fine. There are several blog posts out there on just how to do this. Keith, that's exactly right. Everybody can do Google search and get some of this information too, but we want to make it readily available within these trainings for people. What version should we be using? The one Henrik is using. The other one is still in test, 3.1. Yeah, there's a link right here. I'll put it in the chat from Keith, who's a wonderful source of resources. Helps us a lot with this stuff. Okay, Rusty, I am of the opinion, seeing the demographic makeup of those in this group, these trainings are great. However, they are geared to how-to and not the whys of doing this. Well, that's why we tried to cover today the whys a little bit here, Rusty, because, just because you know how to do something doesn't necessarily, why you should do it. And if you know why you should do it, then you can always think of other reasons how you can do it. Does that make sense? Can you fix the problem of the video web part 7? Yes. Bert, I didn't know that there was a problem. I'll go ahead and see what it is and fix it. Okay. Oh, here's a good question from Karen. Can you do too much? Or is it more about how often you post? That's an awesome question, Karen. Can you do too much?
Well, you can't post more than 4 posts per day. The 5th one will get a red stamp saying rejected. So that's one thing that you, in principle, can do too much of. But I think that if you post on a regular basis, i.e. just 1 post per day, minimum 4 posts per week, then you are ahead of the competition, which means that you have a lot of companies who have just set up, maybe got their GMBs verified, and then they don't even load pictures to it. And we had a case study where we just got loaded a lot of pictures into the GMB from the customer side, and bang, the activity actually increased because Google loves pictures. They love activity. So they were actually showing the GMB more, even though that some part of it we were only for up in the 3-pack for one keyword. And actually we got all these views. And as I mentioned before, I have a company which is not even on page number page number 1 in Google in the local search, and they get 2,200 views per month and 2,000 actions in a niche which is well limited. Okay, half of the searches is actually on a brand search, but the 1,000 that isn't a brand search but a product search, they get that. They get telephone calls, they get driving directions. So it's definitely worthwhile having a consistent plan for posting and have a good content plan as well. So if you're just posting blah, 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 and Google can relate that to any products that you're selling or service that you're getting, then you won't get as much benefit as if it's product driven, but you could add into the mix local events that's happening, so Google sees that you're also a local company. And there was a discussion in the group the other day about 360 images. So even though that you don't have a professional photographer, which will help, of course, but if you have one who has an iPhone camera and take a panorama picture, upload that to the GMB, and that will actually boost it as well. You can have a
Mother Google abso-freaking-lutely loves it. There is no question, right? She loves it. She absolutely loves it. And the more of those that you do, like Henrik said, you know, we're getting all kinds of residual benefit from doing that. So it's proven to be very valuable. I'll go over a little bit of that in a minute for you guys. One of the questions, not related directly to this, but is extremely related, is that we know you can do 4 posts a day. That after 7 posts, the 8th post that comes on makes the 7th post disappear. Right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, when the 8th post is posted and the 7th post disappear, do we lose value? Because that post is no longer there.
No, not at all. The reason why is that all posts goes into the GMB business website. They act as, if you go into the website, let me find one.
That's an excellent question.
It is.
Because it's like, oh my God, I did all this work, and all my posts are gone. Well, it's kind of like air. You know, when you breathe it in and you breathe it out, it's no longer in your body, but it is still air. It is still there. Okay? These things.
Can you all see where it says updates here? Here it says updates, right?
There, I can see it now. Yes.
This is actually post, and there seems to be some problem with the images not coming up, coming down here. And you can see this post, this post, this post, that actually act as an inner page to the website. And because you maximize to 1,500 words on
Characters. Sorry, go ahead.
1,500 words on a one-page website. You're allowed to put in 1,500 down here. You see? That's the limit. But adding more posts, you actually add more value to the website. So over time, because you silo the post into silos, then Google will treat that as a silo on the web page or the business website, the GMB web page or website. So the more you post, the more relevant the posts are in the different silos, the more Google will love you. And don't forget that you also in your post can add videos as well. So video, which is optimized max 1 minute, also goes in here, but it goes down in the photo section down here and will sit down there. If I go up here, can everybody see this one called services?
Yes.
In the info tab on the dashboard, you are able to go in and put in services. Let me go to another one where I have stuffed in quite a lot.
So while you're doing that, Terry, have you been driving links to your actual GMB website as well and getting any results?
The GMB business site? Yes.
Yes. Business site.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you're doing and the results that you're getting?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not doing it and then not doing it to where it's easy to compare the difference. But I set up a new GMB for a client. I use the Google business site as the website designated on the GMB until I get to the 3-pack, and then I change to their own domain website, but still keep sending links to the business site because everything on that business site points to their information, their money page.
So what did I hear you correctly? And did everybody else hear what Terry said, that you initially point everything to the business site, i.e. Google property, i.e. GMB, i.e. website for within and about the GMB. And what you are saying is that helped you rank into the 3-pack?
I found I was ranking quicker in the 3-pack doing that than not doing that. So now I do it for all of them until they're in the 3-pack, and then I add their domain, their money page, their home page, or contact us, whatever it happens to be. But because I'm still posting, I'm still building up that business page, even after it's no longer the designated page for the GMB.
Right. So I'm just curious.
Patrick, if I can show you what I think he indicates is down here where you say the website.
Right.
Yeah.
There, Terry will actually point to this website. So
which
he'll
I name with a keyword, geotag keyword.
Yeah. So
because I can control that name.
Say that again.
You can control the name of your Google business website.
So it doesn't have to be your business name. It could be best plumbers, 24-hour emergency. We get there. You need it. Don't cry. .com.
That might be pushing it a little bit, but you
Yeah.
can, but you do have the ability to name that page.
Gotcha.
So if your Patrick's Place is the name of your website, but you sell pizza, your business site, you want to say Baltimore Pizza,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's the business is perhaps named Patrick's Place, which doesn't tell somebody what kind of business it might be.
Right.
So
Are you guys
here,
getting all this? Julius, no, that is not in Terry's tips and tricks. I won't let him do that.
I think I did tell that in an early one, but
are you guys getting how valuable that one little tidbit right there is, and how you should be going and building out your business site? It doesn't even have to be fancy. I don't know that they are fancy or can be fancy.
It's not going to be fancy.
They're pretty limited. I mean, they're more limited than your Google sites, I think, right, Terry?
Definitely.
But we have actually seen the biz site rank.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it takes up one more spot that could have been a competitor's.
Exactly. How many 3-packs has Terry ranked? More than I have.
1,000.
No, more than 2, but probably less than 1,000. That's a ballpark.
So Terry, do you get the appointment URL as the business website, or do you swap it around and then have it up here?
I have it up there.
Okay.
When I'm starting anew.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it down here because this one is already in the 3-pack.
Because it's a Google site instead of my client's domain.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know Google.
Now, one of the other things, and let's getting back to this, the authority of the posts. When you start jamming your biz site, your Google biz site from your GMB, like Keith is saying that he's doing that, and he's already got it up to a PADA of 9. Okay, his main site is a 3.3. So, what would you rather have showing up and Google relating to each other? Is the higher PADA you have, the better authority you have, and it's a Google property. It's just a logical thought process that mama loves mama and her children.
It includes a link to your money page in it.
Right, so you get that link juiced back to your money page, right?
So if I go back to the Google My Business website, where we have the updates here, you can see I have put in videos on these 2 posts, and that actually gives a good sense of juice to the, and all these posts here act as inner pages. And here, that was what I wanted to show you, services. And if you look at the services, blum, blum, blum. I have taken each of the individual electric wheelchairs and put in here and described them. Other products that they're doing. So I'm actually stealing a lot of real estate on the GMB business sites, which you normally will not have because you're limited to these 1,500 words down. So putting in services, putting in a lot of posts, actually expand your presence on your website.
Whenever Google gives you a blank, fill in the blank.
Yes. So as I'm looking at what you're just showing me, I'm visualizing, and Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, and Henrik as well, but I'm looking at this and saying, my biz site is my website. My posts are an inner page URL of my biz site. So I could have a 1,000-page biz site if I have 1,000 posts. Is that right?
Yep.
So just like any other website, I can decide that I want to boost or try to get a page within my website ranked higher than the other pages. Then we can start whatever your process of driving links, whether it's Ranking Factory, GSA, whatever it is, Money Robot, which I don't, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You can start just driving links directly to those sites or through a buffer page or whatever you want, a tier page. And then you can begin to get those pages ranking higher with a higher PADA as well. And is it possible then that they can actually show up in search?
The GMB website? Yes, they can,
Yeah,
right?
the posts.
I haven't seen the posts in themselves.
Okay, but the interlinking of those pages, not interlinking, but the rising of the value of those pages will rise the value of the main website, so the website could, the biz site could show up on, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay.
But if you say you have 1,000 posts and you're ranking on silos in specific keywords, maybe let's say 200 keywords, it really doesn't matter whether there's a post or the website that's coming up, because you will be up in the ranking. And if you can get the GMB website to rank, and it's easier to rank that than it is to play with the big gorillas out there on the other sites, then of course get it to rank. Okay. We had the Oceans business website ranking on page number 4 for one term, and their main website wasn't in the top 100 when we started.
Right.
It is now, but that's because of other things that we had done. But so it's possible. I even got Alibaba page or the stack to rank on page number 2 for a keyword for this mortgage company. So using just the RFR tool, making a simple stack with a lot of embeds in it, it popped up on page number 2 in the financial industry. That's quite good.
Right. No, it is good. Okay, so I'm excited because I'm actually learning more about what our thought processes were and how we're doing things, and now realizing that the biz site is a very critical piece to the posting. And I would pretty much guarantee this, that if I asked 100 people that are doing GMB posting, are they doing the biz site? I would bet 80% say no. What are your thoughts?
I think you're right.
Terry?
Yeah. And that business site also contains the photos and videos you upload to your GMB. So you can also load it up there with images and videos that you have optimized, obviously.
Right. So you're getting a double and triple effect by doing that you're not necessarily getting with the direct GMB post.
Right. But that should be all part of optimizing that GMB, like filling in those services, adding photos, adding videos. Like I said, if Google gives you a blank, fill it in.
It's there for a reason, right?
Yep, they want you to fill it in.
Okay. Well, I think we have a whole new training class coming up here pretty soon on the biz site. So thanks, Hattie, for asking that question. Led us down a really cool path. While you're looking for something there, Henrik, I'm just going to go down some of these other questions so we can get through them.
I'm not looking for. I'm just browsing around.
Okay. So Gary has a GMB question. If I load image data in the GMB poster, then I post, and then I change accounts, the image data remains and isn't cleared. Is it good if I'm working on the same account? It's great, but how do I clear data if I want to switch accounts?
So he's talking about when he upload an image
Yep,
to the poster,
correct.
like this one here, and it will have some keywords in it.
Yep.
And then he wants to use that again.
No, all of his data is still there.
He wants to upload it to another GMB, right?
Yep.
So this data here has been taken from, or has been stuffed into the picture. It's already been partly optimized before
Okay.
I uploaded it.
So what if he wants to go to a completely different client?
But if
still there.
yeah, but if you want to use an existing one from the GMB, you can only use those who are uploaded to this particular GMB.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So if you're uploading a photo, and we have a new version coming up where you can keep the data that you just posted and then choose another location and post it into that. There you will have to re-optimize the image, so to say, if we are keeping it in the poster window here.
Okay.
Or you should just upload a new one and then optimize that.
Cool. Gary, hopefully that answered your question for the most part. Steve, our spammer, is asking this. Would a sheet full of map direction, iframes, and schema be a good thing? A Google Sheet.
With links for
Yeah, all the links from
right.
Google Sheet and everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we don't see any reason why not.
No, but you actually in your post you're putting in all the directions, and if you take the same one and add it into a sheet and have that sheet on your G drive, then you're actually pointing to your GMB each time you have the direction. So you just, like in RFI, you are just accumulating the amount of links that's pointing to your GMB. It's coming from the same domain, that's correct, but
So to kind of edify our point about what other people are doing, Anthony says, I agree with Henrik on this. I did some research last night on posts and noticed that other businesses, I'm assuming that are his competitors, had 12 posts in 2 years. So if you go take a look at what does everybody in here have, what's the name of that program from Chad Kimball?
Easy Cache, local Easy Cache is the group.
I posted that in the GMB room. Tell me if I need to post it again. It's a really good little free tool. So give me a 1 if you're using it, and 2 if you think I'm smoking dope and I'm in the wrong city. Okay, here's a question. The keyword section of the image data. You have to add 1 word at a time and delete 1 word at a time. That is not true.
You can add as many as you will in one go.
So you can copy, cut, and paste, right? Or you can paste.
You can when you delete it. Unfortunately, you have to delete it in one go. But maybe we can ask Chris to make a button called delete all, and then you'll be able to clear or just clear the box.
That would be a great idea.
But if I go over here, add photo, I think if I take this one, or maybe this one here, and go to images. Oh shit, it's still high. But I can add a few more in here. Just a second.
Great question, Gary. Good tip. We'll try to get that fixed for you. I'm pretty sure we can.
We'll just take a second. I'll find some more keywords. Google is a little bit slow today.
Yeah, Keith says he's using local cache. I don't know what it is. What are you talking about? Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll put easy cache in the GMB room for everybody. And maybe, Henrik, what we can do is we can just do a, spot impromptu, 15, 20 minute, either training or do a Webby or do a video on how to use it.
Oh. So I just copied a few keywords here. So if I
Do you need commas or not? Did you need commas or you could just paste them?
I copied them first from a sheet, and now I paste them.
Cool. Just copy them directly from a sheet and put them in.
You see that?
You may have to use Control V, or did you use paste?
I just right-clicked on use paste.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Cool. Very good. But it's a great idea to do the delete all thing. I think that's a great little thing that Chris can put in there. We'll call it Gary's delete button with an E. Cool. Okay. You guys are winding down here question-wise. I think I don't see any other questions. So who has the last questions that we want to share with everybody that you're struggling with? What are you struggling with within the schema, what we talked about today? Is there any other areas that you're struggling with? Simple struggles. Does IFTT do anything with your GMB post? Awesome question, Scott. So let's look at the progression of what we can do, right? So if Henrik goes back to the post, and he goes back to a post, and you'll notice that there's a little itty bitty toggle button underneath the picture. Okay? And does IFTT do anything with our GMB post? Well, let's first show everybody how to get it to an IFTTT. So you see, everybody see where his mouse is? Blogger. So you've done your post, you click that little toggle, and it'll open up the button at the top that says Blogger. So he clicks on Blogger. Okay, so that is your Blogger. Now, once you have done that, and you send that, isn't that create post on Blogger is the button up top, Kenrick?
This one?
Yep. Is that,
so when you hit that,
creating your Blogger post?
It should create a Blogger post, but this has been stalling for I don't know how long, so I need to check what's wrong here.
That's okay. I mean,
but it will send you to your Blogger, which you have chosen up here. And if that Blogger has an IFTT ring with the Blogger as a trigger, this post will be syndicated out to all your properties.
Booyah!
So yes, Scott, you can do that.
And you you can re-syndicate this to other, if you got more than one ring. So give us a link to the IFTTT. It's called, guess what? IFTTTfactory.com. I should have made you guess that, Gary. We spent 4 months building this syndication out, and Dr. Leon was the main culprit and spent many hours fixing this and testing it with the developer that built it for us, right? So can we cross post to different Blogger accounts? Exactly. You just pick the Blogger account at the top that you have if you want to post it to another IFTT Blogger account, or you can just post it to that Blogger account, whatever, if it's not associated with an IFTTT. Or you could take the Blogger, the second Blogger account, and put a link into your Blogger, and it'll kind of cross-link back and forth between that. That's a manual process. We don't do Blogger stacking, do we? Kendrick, we don't do that, right?
We have in RFR a possibility of doing multiple Blogger posts at the same time.
Yeah, but we're not there. We're here.
No. But if you go there and take it, then you can post to different blog at the same time.
Right.
So you have a little niche blog network which
So,
you post to.
Literally speaking, okay, this is kind of like a Marco thing that we learned in one of the Marco trainings, right? And either Terry or Henrik can kind of piggyback off of what I'm going to screw up here. But literally speaking, if you take your GMB post and then you send it to your Blogger, and then you put your Blogger to the IFTTT, but if you have sequentially added embed codes into your Blogger, and that embed code links to another embed code that links to another embed code that links to the original embed code that you put into your Blogger, you're creating what he calls a viral loop, okay? And I don't know that we've actually gotten into creating that yet. Henrik, have we?
Pardon?
It's something that we're talking about, but manually you could do it. And Terry, you do that all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I do it with the HTML properties quite a bit.
Right. So you can literally do that with what we've given you here, and maybe we can set up a little special training on how to use the HTML properties to do viral loops. That might be something that we can do as well. And like I said, you do it all the time, Terry. So.
And that might be mentioned in Madge and I's upcoming webinar on using the Blogger module of RFR. Just a shameless plug there.
Oh, when is that? When is that coming?
We're hoping next week, but we haven't decided on a date and time that works for both of us. So.
Mm-hmm. You want to explain what it is that you guys are going to be doing?
Just covering the Blogger module of RFR. That's the first in a series.
Okay.
Covering the way Madge and I use the Blogger module.
So if you use the Blogger module in RFR, anybody that watches that would be able to use the Blogger module here?
Correct. Or even use Blogger without RFR if they wanted to bother doing it all manually.
Right. Well, that is why we teach you how to do things, so that if you think you don't need any of this stuff and you want to do it by hand, you have the appropriate training to be able to do that, right?
But some of the things that you can do is that if you're using PRs and stack them and embed them into whatever G properties that you have, then you get real power into your loops.
So a lot about everything that we're doing is all about teaching the manual way, but also with all the tools, making it so that you can have a life with your family on the side. So that's what's really cool about what we're doing. and a lot of great teachers in here. And yes, it's a lot of information, and I do, kind of apologize for the disorganization, but hopefully if everything works out, I did come up with a program called Skype History. Talked to the developer the other day. It's like $15, but it's a way to organize your Skype and your Skype chats, a little bit like Facebook. And I think I posted that into the GMB room, but if anybody is interested, just PM me through Skype at Patrick Tuttle. So I was able to organize something from this guy, and it is only on the classic version. So I run classic on one machine and pro on the other, but they are working on setting it up for classic for the pro version as well. But for right now, it does give you a way to organize the data a little bit. So I'm excited to fire mine up and get it organized. And then we also have another person, a lot prettier than me, who is working on trying to organize this data in some other type of format for us in both the GMB and the ranking factor room. So some of that is going to be changing here shortly. And I am also looking at a Facebook opportunity for us to also gather data and organize it a little better. And Carolyn, I do appreciate, the thought and the concern, because it is not just you, but a lot of people who have that same concern that the data is great. It's just a lot of it. And how do I organize it to my best use? And, I'd have to, take the gauntlet for that and not having set that up best for you guys. But on my side, it's kind of hard too to do all of that and do everything else and do the marketing and work with the developers and especially working with Henry, it's just pain in the ass. But
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we have to do. So, all right, I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes, and if you have any questions, put them in here. And
Can I say something?
I was going to give you the last word to go ahead and say whatever you want.
No, we have been speaking about iframes today, and a lot of you guys have been on Marco's webinars, the first one and the second one. And if you haven't, go and donate. Take the replay and look at that. And Marco is coming up with another webinar here on the 14th.
Correct.
And if you're not clear on anything there, maybe you can have an opportunity to ask some of the questions. But this is actually stuff from the man himself. So I highly encourage you to go and see the replays, sign up, donate and sign up for the one which is on the 14th, and you will get much more knowledge about the iframe stuff and iframe loops, because that's much more to iframes than what we have just shown you here.
Yeah, exactly. Any go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm doing some advanced stuff on iframes for this ocean landing, and that's why we are able to actually progress up in the rankings for the official side, even though we haven't touched it yet, and that's why we are moving up in the 3 packs for different keywords. So iframe has a good deal to do with that.
All right. Terry, any last thoughts for everybody?
It's a new year. Get off your ass and get to work.
Well, that was blunt. All right. 1 minute, last questions. Oh, yeah, now you tell us. Now you tell us. What was wrong with telling us last year, Terry? Not just that it's a new year. All right, guys. I think we've hammered it pretty good. I don't see any questions coming in. Totally appreciate every single one of you. We'll have the replay up shortly. And as strange as this may seem, if any of you have any friends, and I know some of you have 1 or 2, and you think that this information is good and there's some nugget in here that would help them, please feel free to share this with anybody that you think they could have learned something on how to make their business better. I'm not trying to have you sell the GMB, but if you think the knowledge is good, training knowledge is good knowledge for somebody that you know, Gary and I have decided that, you know, we want anybody and everybody. They can even come to our training. I invited other people to our training today just so that they could see and hear other ways they could increase their business, even if they don't have, you know, any of our tools. So we really want to help people. So please feel free to share it with anybody that you think this could be of any help to, okay? Gregory, thank you. Paul, Anthony, Keith, as always, we appreciate you being here and, you know, participating in what we're doing. And we just wish you a great new year. And we are hopeful that what Gary and myself and what Terry and Henrik and Leon has put together, and Lisa, who's helping as well, you know, main contributors to our success and your success. So, you know, thumbs up for everybody, and let's have a great year, okay? You guys have a great night. Till next week when we have another training. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we have another training, then we have Marcos. Last thought, you know, there's no specific dollar amount to donate, but, you know, if you get the link, I put it in the Reiki Factor room. If you donate, you're invited to the third webinar. If you add a little bit extra to that, you can pick up the last two webinars and some scripts, which I thought were awesome. I mean, those scripts were incredible, weren't they, Henrik?
Yep.
Yeah, they just gave you all kinds of ways to stack and dry stack, and we're going to be working on building some dry stacks, and, you know, that Marco's teaching. So that's in the works for the year. So guys, have a blessed night. Talk to you later. Terry, thank you for popping on, and appreciate all the questions. See you guys.
See you.